choosing software for qualitative studies. Dear students, we have been discussing the advantages of computer software for qualitative data analysis. And we know that there is a lot of advantage which could be taken from qualitative data analysis. But software are not randomly decided, and they are not randomly chosen for qualitative data analysis. We need to properly work and follow particular steps before deciding which computer software does suit our data and which software is required for our analyses, right? So there are key steps involved, and in this session we are going to talk about the steps which are essential and which are important to be followed by researchers who are interested in applying qualitative data analytical software, okay, or tools. The first question is that what is the type and amount of your data, right? So if it's quite a complex type of data, you have various forms of the data, and you have quite bulk of the data, then you would decide to follow a particular software, right? But based on the nature of your data, you must be evaluating the application of software, right? If you have simple data which could be easily handled manually, then I would recommend that you should not go for applying any qualitative data software, right? Because the learning of the software for analysis, and also then acquiring the purchase of the software, and of course, the learning is also very time-taking. And particularly when you are doing it for the first time, then it would be quite burdensome. So you should decide just on the basis of your nature and type of amount of data. Then what kind of theoretical approaches are you applying, right? If you are applying theoretical approaches which are available, which are fixed in the data, the frameworks or the statistical tools which are available in the software for qualitative data analysis, then you must go for that software. But the point is that if you are applying a theoretical approach which is not built in your data software, analysis software, then you should recheck and you review. As discussed just now, that learning a computer software is quite an expensive job because it takes a lot of time, energy, and of course the price, because you would be purchasing a machine, you need a laptop, a computer, then you also need a lot of time because you would be going to the market, you would be looking for the software, the selection of the software, then the purchase of the software, and then you would be learning that software in order to apply for your research study. So you must check that whether the learning and the time investment, that is worth using, that is worth investing. If that is worth investing, then you must go for your application of the software for data analysis. But if it is not worth exploring, then you should decide. Of course, there are advantages of computer software. So you must compare the advantages available to you and then the required price which you would pay, right? So the level of analysis, what type of analyses are required? Is it a simple kind of analysis which you would carry out with your computer software, or it is going to be like a very complex sort of software? So you must decide. And then the desired closeness of the data, as discussed earlier. If you are using a computer software, you would be distancing from your data. There would be a gap between you and your data. So are you really in a position to bear this distance? Would you be in a position to afford this distancing from the data? So just check about it and then decide. Any desired quantification of results, because quantification of results, they are required for, particularly when you are using a lot of statistics. So that is one question to be explored in the beginning, that do you really need the quantification of the results? Then would you be working individually, or if it's a large-scale research study, then more than one person would be involved. It would be like a team research, right? So when it is a team research, all members would be applying the same software. So in this case, you must also determine that whether this is important or not. And then there are peer software support available, because some software which are online available, they also give you some help and support. So when you are done with this, list of tasks, and you are decided that you would go and apply the software, then you would follow these steps, because there are then steps involved. So when you have acquired your selected software, there are steps which are to be followed. Step 1 is that install the program, right? And note down the requirement. That what's the requirement? Like, does your machine suit that software? Like, there are particular, requirements. Like latest window program is required, or maybe it's the window or Macintosh. So what kind of machine is required? So you should know the requirements. Then learn the operation using the help menu, because in the software the help menu is already given. You must explore it, and you should know how to operate it. Then prepare a source document, because a source document is really important, and it's the text which is formatted in the source document. Then open a project, study unit, hermeneutic unit. There are of course some windows, some pans in the software. So you would be opening a project, and there would be some further windows opening down. So you would be exploring them, and then you would be importing a text from other files in the computer, from the desktop, or maybe from any other desk of the computer. Audio, video, pictures, source files, and those source files would be then imported to the the software which you are using, right? And then you would read the imported text documents in your software, and then you will select the segments of the text which are to be explored, and you would be coding and labeling, annotating. You would be inserting codes, categories, memos, quotations, and you would be labeling various parts of the data. That's the requirement. And then you can further search, sort, manage, categorize, and manage quotations, mapping of the concepts, layering, linking. So these are the steps which would be involved when you are using a computer software. And of course, at the end, when you would be producing reports, then you would be using those matrices, exporting data, and then you would be using a lot of report writing techniques. And when the report is finalized, you would be printing it down. So these are some of the steps which are involved while using computer data analysis for your qualitative data.